Ah, oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Day 21. The day started off with me finishing this house for the villagers. I did have to chop more trees down because I ran out of wood, but after I finished building up the walls and started placing stairs to make a roof. The final result definitely wasn't the worst thing I've ever built, but it definitely wasn't the best either. I started to build a second house for more villagers, then gathered a ton more wood. After I finished the house, because it was night, I decided to head into the mine. In the upper part of the cave, I got some iron, lapis, gold, and even my first diamond in the world. There were 3 of them. After mining for a bit longer, I found these 2 diamonds in this mound of deep slate. I dropped down to the second level of the cave where I found some more gold and even 2 more diamonds. This cave was absolutely gigantic and really just kept going. Despite this baby villager attacking me, I just had to get the diamond before I killed it. But that ended up being a horrible decision because there were 3 of them. So I knocked 2 into the lava right away and the third got me down to half a heart. So I had to pause, and once I unpaused, I put a block above my head right away so I didn't die to anything else. While I was healing, even more zombies fell into the lava crack. So it was good that I put a block above my head. After I got out of the crack, I went back to where I found the diamond and finished mining the 3 that were left. I found another lone diamond on this mound, and after a little while longer, I left the mine. After I started smelting all the iron that I had, I went into the little mine and started mining out this area to get some cobblestone to smelt for the walls. Right before it was the next day, I made another blast furnace to smelt the gold. Day 23, I used the diamonds that I got from the mining expedition to make myself a chest plate, and also decided the best use of the diamonds left would be to make a pickaxe. I used the wheat that I had to breed the cows, and then I headed into this ravine to find some coal in order to make some torches so that I could light up the caves. Once I got back home, I used the coal that I gathered to start smelting some cobblestone to make stone bricks for the walls. I used the bricks that I had to continue building the wall more, and afterwards I headed to the nether portal to turn this lava into obsidian and gather it to make another portal and an enchantment table. Because it was night by the time I finished, I ran into this village where I stole this bed from the villager again. Because I had the houses for the villagers now, the next step was to get them back to the actual compound. So I made a boat. I put this villager into a boat and started to row it all the way home, which was way easier once I got it to the river part. And once I got it home, I tried to make this makeshift river to get this villager to his new house. But to be honest, that just let the villager out of the boat and my plan was ruined. My new plan was to place this composter inside this house and have this villager come running, looking for a job to contribute to the emerald economy, which is exactly what happened. I trapped him in the house so that he will never see the light of day again, worked on filling in the river that I made a ton more stone bricks, and used them to start building the walls even higher. I turned the coal that I had into torches and headed into the mine using water. While further exploring the mine shaft, I came across this minecart with a name tag in it. I got into a pretty intense fight with these skeletons because I had a poison effect from a cave spider, which meant that I got really low and cut it really close killing these. I came across this minecart with another name tag in it, and there was also a diamond next to it. After exploring more of the mineshaft a little bit, I found some more diamonds. Unfortunately, I kept coming across diamonds on the lonesome, but diamonds are diamonds. I came across a zombie spawner with a golden apple and horse armor in his chest, but I ran out of torches, so I headed back up to the surface. When I got up there was this wandering trader waiting for me, once again with no really good trades. I used the diamonds that I got to make an enchantment table, bred all the cows again, farmed all of the wheat, and by the time I was done, it was the next day. I traded all of the wheat that I gathered with this villager for some emeralds, and got quite a bit. I made a diamond sword and headed back to the village to kidnap another villager. I tried to lure the villager with a job again, but little did I know this one was not interested in getting any jobs and could not get a job. So I ended up luring them into their house with a piece of bread. I began to build an underground tunnel to connect the 2 houses, made it look all symmetrical and nice, then placed beds for them to sleep and also breed for another villager. But because they weren't breeding since it was night, I went to bed. The next morning, I chopped down some trees, made some books and some bookshelves to place around my enchantment table. Then I put efficiency 2 on my pickaxe and headed back to the igloo to try and get the villagers from the bottom. My plan was to dig a hole and fill it with water to get the villagers to the top, but I didn't realize that the lake over top would be frozen, so it was kind of a close call breaking this ice, but I survived. I pushed this villager into the water stream and watched him float up, but the villager floated up too slowly and drowned. But unfortunately for me, the lake froze over the ice again, so my best bet was to go all the way back down. The swimming was kind of terrifying because I was losing hearts in it quickly, and it actually got me down to only a heart and a half, which is really scary. I moved on to trying to lure this other villager with a piece of bread, but I just realized it wasn't worth it, so I headed back home. Because it was night, I decided to start mining out this hole more. I did have to redo the staircase a little bit so that it includes the new hole, but otherwise I headed back up to the surface because I mined into the water part of the ground and I didn't want to deal with that right now. I smelted all of the cobblestone that I gathered, and the next morning I worked on the wall some more and filled in this hole in front of the villager's house. I kidnapped another sheep by placing him into a boat and rowing him all the way home, then lured the sheep into his pen with some wheat. Because I had this bamboo just sitting in a chest, I planted it near this wall, then headed back to the mine. In the cave, I didn't really find all that much except for these diamonds and a ton of gold and iron, but I did find a few more diamonds around. After I got bored and had a few close calls, I went back up to the surface, but on the way up, I messed up and fell all the way down. Luckily, I placed water at the bottom before I went up and saved it. On the surface, I smelted what I got and worked on the walls a lot more. I used the diamonds that I got from the mining expedition to make myself diamond legs, then made an anvil, placed it upstairs, and even though it was night, I chopped down some trees. I demolished this corner so that I can make an entrance and exit to the compound, since I now had a 2-block height around the entire compound. I put iron doors as the doors and wooden pressure plates on the inside of the compound. On the outside of the compound, I put iron pressure plates so that only I could open them. I messed with how the design of the corners would look and just settled to have them only be wood all the way up. Afterwards, I worked on trying to get a mending trade from this villager, and after wasting 5 minutes, I got bored and headed out for now. I started to make charcoal to cook things in furnaces so that I could reserve the coal for torches, then return to the mob spawner to continue building it. Once I ran out of deep slate, I jumped down, then worked on expanding the farm even more. I ended up expanding it quite a bit and made it pretty massive. I even added a section for the pumpkin seeds that I had. Then I bred all the cows again and used the leftover wheat to get an emerald. And finally, the day ended with me building a roof on the second floor, then watching the sunrise and getting ready for the next 10 days.
Wake up in the mornings with some gas, I feel lovely. Yo, this in my line, she keep saying that she love me. I can never love a bitch, my attitude